What's up, guys? Mason the Rock Henderson here, and this is the Librarians, Season 2, Episode 5. 5 or 6. Maybe 6. I can't remember. But this is the Librarians and the Hollow Man. Very interesting episode. There's a lot more story to it than usual, and a little bit less quirkiness. The show likes to do that awkward kind of cheesy stuff. Less of that going on. It opens up with them trying to find this thing, and then they all get knocked out. Flynn gets taken by this guy. Don't know who he is, and trying to figure out what this guy's deal is. Blah blah blah. Ultimately, you find out this guy is the spirit of the library. And this whole season, they've been talking about how messed up the library is, and how rooms are out of place, items are missing. They're not sure why. They're not sure what's going on. This guy, the library is like a living thing. It's not just a library with stuff in it. It's actually a living person almost. And this guy is like spirit in human form. And so because he's been separated from the library, that's why it's been falling apart. That's why rooms have been shuffled, all that stuff. And in this episode, the library is like literally dying because this guy's been away from it for so long. And so, things are going really bad back home. Jenkins, Stone, Ezekiel, and Cassandra are all in the library, trying to figure out what's going on, trying to figure out what's happening. And meanwhile, Flynn and I can't remember what the name of the guy. I think it was Ray, maybe. I'm pretty sure it was Ray. But trying to figure out, about this guy, who he is. Eventually finds out he's a library, so he's leading him to this staff of knowledge, which Prospero sends Moriarty to go find. And Flynn's idea is, well, if he gets this staff of knowledge, then maybe he'll remember who he is, because he can't remember anything. So meanwhile, Moriarty, like I said, is trying to find the staff, but he and Eve have another little meeting. Eve decides the only way to find her way to the staff and to Flynn is by working with Moriarty. And Moriarty convinces her that, he's maybe with this staff of knowledge, he can break Prospero's hold on him, because that's the only reason why he's doing all this stuff, is because Prospero summoned him, which means he controls him. But in the end, what happens is the human Ray library, he grabs it, and he's like dying because there's so much power. And Moriarty finally, says there's no way anybody mortal can touch it. And because he's a fictional, and his story does not end with him dying by his staff, that means he's immortal. And so Flynn says, give the staff to Moriarty. So he gets the staff and, says to Eve, remember what I said, and then leaves, which I don't know exactly what that means. But it's hard to really get a grasp on how I feel about this episode, because on the one hand, the story is very interesting, everything going on is very interesting, but all of it at the end just kind of feels rushed, and I don't know, it would have been so much more interesting to, I don't know, maybe it's just because I have high expectations for a lot of shows, but I think it would have been a lot more interesting if somebody had died this episode. And I know that sounds really morbid, but it would have made it a bit more, I guess, it would have gotten me more invested. Because right now, I'm watching it and I'm interested in what's going on. It has this unique charm with all of its cheesiness, but it kind of gets serious this episode, but doesn't have a serious ending. The guy that represents the library, or the spirit of the library, is holding it, and he's like holding it forever, and all this flame surrounding him, and he's like dying. And back home, all the lamps are going out, and like it's sucking the power from these lamps. And whenever the last light bulb goes, it will suck the life out of the closest life being or whatever. And Jenkins like tells them, look, I'll stay behind. And they're like, no, we're not gonna let you. And ultimately, everything just turns out okay. Just I don't know. It's hard to describe, but basically, my issue is that if you're gonna have a serious episode, have a serious ending. Don't have it just all work out okay because we have happy endings here. Not every ending is happy. And yeah, if you go back to the first season, the last episode was very intense and very interesting. But it did have one of those moments where it could have ended on a very solemn note and then happy ending. Just completely reverse the sad ending. And so I don't know. The show probably is not going to kill anybody off, but at the same time, I want to see it take some risks. I want to see it kind of do something extreme like that. Do something that's gonna shock me. Jenkins or Flynn don't make it. Obviously, without Eve and the Cassandra, Ezekiel, and Stone, that they're the main show right now. Flynn is like he's barely in the show right now. He's more of a reference because he was the librarian in all the movies that they did. And so I don't know. Like it feels like if they kill him off, that would make me. It would make it a bit more serious. It would make it a bit more okay. This show needs to be taken seriously. But right now, I don't take it seriously. I really don't. All of these episodes, I enjoy them. I can get a good laugh in. And it's just a cheery good time. But that's it. There's not. It doesn't go deeper than that. And the story right now, this story was good, but up until this story, it's just been oh that was kind of interesting, but it's never been anything serious. And anytime they have the serious moments, it's never a real serious moment because something cheesy or funny pops up a second later, and serious moment's over. So I don't know. It's really tough. It's really tough for me to review this because if I'm reviewing it based off of past episodes, yeah, it was a good episode. Same old Librarians, a bit more serious, a bit less cheese in it, but it was still a good Librarians episode. But I'm kind of at a point now where we're a season and a half into the show. I want to see something different. It's kind of been the same thing that I saw in the first season, just different story. And this episode's no exception. It's the library is dying. Well, let's come up with some way that just saves the day. Nobody dies, and everything works out okay. The library's fixed. Now it's just a mess. And Moriarty makes off with the staff. So I don't know. Maybe that's just a personal thing. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll see you at the next review. Peace out.